You might be surprised to see yet another Battlefield 2042 video on my channel, since the previous meltdowns really stated that that was going to be the final coverage of Battlefield 2042 in general in gaming zone. However, EA and the DICE decided to put us through a misery ringer trying to unlock Battlefield 6 skins in 2042 respectively, with a free battle pass basically unlocking you free skins, both for 2042 and for Battlefield 6. Honestly, I regret calling it a turning point for 2042, cause after playing a couple of days in this pile of garbage, this miserable software right here, I've decided that enough was enough for me suffering, and I've decided to basically make a good old rant on how terrible this game is. So everyone, this is going to be one last rant about Battlefield 2042, how miserable, terrible and how trash it looks, plays, it is in general. And I'm going to basically do a final nail in the coffin and put this under the ground for good. Hello everyone, Chris back again with you in Gaming Zone. Yes, Battlefield 2042, one final rant which I wanted to get out of my system after trying to do those challenges for Battlefield 6 weapons, which of course are going to be available on October 10th once that game drops. Truth to be told, I didn't expect for me to actually just get so fired up to write another rant. That's why this is going to be mostly just a live talk about everything that I've experienced in 2042, how terrible, how dogshit this game is, and honestly just venting out my frustrations as to why DICE have decided to push us through this ringer and actually suffer in this terrible software. I'm not even going to call it a game, this is honestly just a software that is barely working. Invisible soldiers, bugs left and right, the whole game looks terrible, it also plays terrible, the performance is terrible. I can go on like this towards infinity. With a Prelude stated what started all of this? Well, Battlefield 6. The road to Battlefield 6 thing has been announced for 2042. Once the beta has finished for that thing, DICE did a surprise update. I'm going to call it a surprise, it's mostly just a miserable update, where they decided to release a roadmap. Just like Battlefield 1 and Battlefield V, they did this roadmap where you could just play the game, farm XP and so on, and you unlock rewards, of course, for the next game which is going to release. They did this for Battlefield V, they did this for 2042, and now they are doing this for Battlefield 6. And unfortunately, they are forcing us to play Battlefield 2042. They are giving basically free awards for everyone, including skins, guns, custom weapons, and so on. So yeah, I give props where props are due, this is actually great that they are giving this away for free, but I still consider this an absolutely terrible punishment for the player base. 2042 is a barely working piece of shit, and it's just miserable to play. Even though the missions are, let's say, easy to do, they actually are not because of how buggy, how terrible the experience is. So of course, just like everyone else, I've decided to return to Battlefield 2042 to do these skins assignments. After all, they are quite interesting. They got the Chinese engineer and also a 2042 tribute if you complete these battle passes. I did farm the battle pass until level 13, but after getting absolutely destroyed in Renewal and also Hourglass, and there was also this one called Redacted, those maps are just so terrible, they genuinely made me lose my mind. I just kept clicking Alt F4 every single time I got into a match. The base maps are absolutely unplayable, they are absolute trash. You spawn in an empty field, you just run 15 kilometers, then to only tie to a sniper or to a vehicle. Those are absolute trash, even those changes don't salvage them. I spawned a couple of times on Renewal, it's basically just an empty field. They did put in some sprinkles here and there, some resemblance of cover. It's just miserable. I tried Hourglass, same thing, it's just a couple of covers here and there. They reduced the map size back to 64. But it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable at all. Sectors as well, they are just a horrible idea. You spawn on a map, you got tons of objectives, but in factuality there are like 2 or 3 objectives overall on these older maps. So actually sometimes a sector is simply one flag, so the enemy captures that, but on the other side it's like 2 flags which you have to capture. So the enemy can just simply go to a flag, neutralize it, and yeah, the ticket bleed is in their favor. And honestly, I'm glad they dropped this idea of having sectors in the maps, just simply let's play it like good old Battlefield without any of this nonsense. You just run on empty maps, weapons are just floating left and right when it comes to recoil, the mouse is flying everywhere, there is no proper sensitivity in this game, you just shoot and you just pray that it hits the target. Sometimes I fired shots that were 100% going to miss and somehow I get a headshot because of those. Honestly, the shooting in this game is just floaty, it does whatever it wants. Basically it lives its own life, which is very annoying. It's not like Battlefield 6 where you aim and fire, everything goes there, it's just flying all over the screen. You just have to pray when you are shooting an enemy, sometimes you might get them, sometimes you are just going back to the respawn. The gameplay simply is so revolting, I refuse to fire up this game anymore. I clocked in more hours in just 2 weeks playing Battlefield 6 than I ever did 2042 in its whole lifespan. That's including of course the previous reviews and also overall just featuring some gameplay on the channel. The game is just terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it plays like shit. I've been getting killed by random invisible soldiers. As I spawn I get absolutely destroyed, there is no spawn protection, maps are still just absolutely abhorrent even though they were fixed. I'm gonna be real with you, Battlefield 6 maps, I used to trash them for how bad some of those are, especially Empire State. Man, I'd pick that suffering any day of the week in Battlefield 6 than ever touch 2042. Graphics are trash, they look like a soap opera. On lowest settings it straight up looks worse than Call of Duty on lowest. And I do play Call of Duty on lowest for just shits and giggles and it looks like a, I don't know, PS2 game. 2042 kinda is like that. Hell, even Battlefield 2 at Ultra with some mods actually looks better than this pile of shit right in front of your eyes, everyone. They also supported the anti-cheat in Battlefield 2042, now you basically have to tinker with your BIOS, you have to go through the settings, enable a lot of things, just to play this barely functioning piece of shit. It is just barely functioning, it looks bad, runs like trash, the gameplay is unrewarding, it puts me to sleep, just like someone says, and of course, it just overall the experience is not enjoyable. So yeah, I kinda confirmed it for myself that Battlefield 6 is actually using, let's say, a fixed version of the Frostbite scene in 2042. I think it's because of this Frostbite right here, because it was so trash written, it was so rushed. We still have a lot of issues when it comes to overall performance. And that's why I believe some of those issues were ported to Battlefield 6 because of this, let's say, fundamental Frostbite, this Frostbite which has been used in 2042. So yeah, after playing a couple of days trying to unlock skins for Battlefield 6, no, I'm not continuing to play this pile of shit. This game is absolute trash. It's not worth your time. Honestly, I'd rather recommend everyone you just try Call of Duty instead of this pile of shit. Cause honestly, Battlefield 2042 mostly reminds me of Black Ops 4 with its operators than Battlefield in general. Some newer maps like Reclaimed, for example, which kinda looks like Zavod, yeah, they kinda remind me of Battlefield, but everything else, like gameplay wise, when it comes to operators, to vehicles in general, it doesn't at all look like Battlefield. It's just a weird concoction using Call of Duty elements, blending in with Battlefield. So I'm going to bring this back up. Even though I hated Battlefield V, I consider it to be my mortal enemy. This barely working trash actually is worse than that. Congratulations, you are now my mortal enemy. I absolutely despise this game with my whole passion. And I believe it should be forgotten, it should be buried. Honestly, after everything is finished, they should just pull up the plug and just let this game die, just disable everything, forget it exists, because honestly, this is just a dark stain on Battlefield's franchise. Even Battlefield Play for Free, that one at least was similar to Battlefield, but this one is just a pathetic clone of Black Ops 4, with its own spin on everything. So everyone, this is going to be my final farewell to Battlefield 2042. Honestly, I'm glad I just decided to give up on this. I saw a lot of people just being miserable, farming everything, but I believe it's simply not worth the effort. The game is barely working, it runs like trash, consumes a lot of storage, requires secure boot, all of this stuff which you need to actually tinker with your PC. This is why this is the final nail in the coffin for me, everyone. This is going to be the end of Battlefield 2042 coverage. I've said last time that is going to be the final time I'll be doing that. I even thought about streaming this on Gaming Zone, but after just a couple of games and seeing how miserable I was, I decided, you know what, it's not even worth sharing the misery, because I'm going to spread more misery if you see me live playing this trash, boys. This is the final rant on 2042. I'm going to forget about this thing. I'm washing my hands off and I'm going to go clean with Battlefield 6 once it launches on October 10th. I'd rather wait for the game on launch. I'll buy, let's say, for example, a battle pass, and then I'll farm all of the skins that I need. 2042 needs its plug pulled and just completely forgotten by time, cause honestly this game is embarrassing and shouldn't have existed in the first place. Thank you for watching this video, everyone. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to throw a thumbs up, and if you didn't, there's the dislike button nearby. Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can see more content just like this one, or in general discussions and reviews about games. Thanks for tuning in. See you when the game is on.